Florian drew one delivery on his whiteboard. On time, yes or no? One report said yes, one said late. It depends, I told him, and took the marker, because two of his own reports had already answered him. One, the DataHub, said on time. The other, the sales subsidiaries, said late. And both could prove it. Florian ran Bergfeld, the bakery oven company from last time, the one with 3 numbers for one revenue figure. Here's the map. Last time we stood on that row at the edge. Today we're up here. That's the layer where somebody decides what the data means. I promised to show you how a data model actually gets decided. Conceptual, logical, physical. Conceptual, the model a baker can read. Logical, the model that holds true on any database. Physical, the model a database can run. That's the build order. Bergfeld met them backwards, from the bottom up. Inside a data store nobody could explain. So we climb the board the way they found it, then turn it round. If you'd rather learn this from one real delivery than from a glossary, subscribe. Bottom of the board. This is where Bergfeld started. Inside the DataHub, their homegrown database. In one table, one column answered Florian's question. On time, yes or no, per delivery. It was built from 2 dates, the day Bergfeld had promised and the day the goods left. Both happened to be in the nightly export from their data warehouse. That's the physical model, the model a database can run. Down here, a model is tables and columns. It has a key that makes each delivery unique, an index so the answer comes back fast, the table cut into slices so it stays fast, and a list of who's allowed to read it. A column is an address for a number, where the number lives. An address is not a definition. Every date a delivery can carry has an address in SAP. 4 dates: asked for, promised, left, arrived. The export happened to carry 2 of them. Who picked those 2 dates? Hold that. Bottom row, the address. 1 row up, the middle row. Forget the addresses. Up here it doesn't matter which database. Whatever goes on this row was the same in their data warehouse, in the DataHub, and in Eileen's spreadsheet from last time. That's the logical model, the model that holds true on any database. Every delivery carries 4 dates and 1 quantity. The 4 dates: the day the bakery asked for, the day Bergfeld promised, the day it left, the day it arrived. Those are its attributes. In most reports I've seen, the word delivered means the day the goods left the plant, or the day they actually arrived, if anyone wrote that down. Each delivery has a number that makes it unique. So does each order line, each item a bakery ordered. That number is its key, and the delivery carries the order line's number, so the 2 can be matched. Now the rule. For one order line, on time is one comparison between 2 of those 4 dates. Which 2? That is not a database setting. That is a business rule. It comes from a customer contract or from house policy. And Bergfeld had 2 of those rules, and nobody had ever written either one down. The sales subsidiaries compared the day the goods left with the day the bakery had asked for. The DataHub compared the day the goods left with the day Bergfeld had promised. Measure against the promise and the plant looks good, and you never find out that you promised late. Measure against what the bakery asked for and you get the bakery's truth. Harsher and honest. As a rule, the promise is never earlier than the wish, so measuring against the promise can only look better, never worse. The subsidiary's number was always the lower one. Neither one is wrong. SAP puts both side by side in its own delivery performance reporting and calls them delivered as requested and delivered as committed. Requested means asked for. Committed means promised. Somebody has to pick. And that somebody is not the person building the report. Middle row, the rule. Which 2 of the 4? Which number in your company would come back with 2 different answers depending on who ran the report? Put the word in the comments. On time, revenue, stock, whatever it is. The word, not the system. Top of the board. No dates, no fields, no columns. Just the nouns. A bakery customer, an order line, a delivery, a heating element, a spare part, a plant. And the lines between them. The customer places the order line. The order line becomes a delivery, sometimes more than one. and the delivery carries a heating element out of a plant. One order line, many deliveries. That's its cardinality, one to many. And that's why the full name is On Time, in Full. You want all of them. That is the whole conceptual model, the model a baker can read. That whiteboard, by the way, was an entity relationship diagram. Nobody in the room called it that. And it doesn't even split the numbers from the things that describe them yet. Facts from dimensions, a star schema. That shape only shows up at the bottom when somebody builds one. And across the top goes one sentence a baker could sign. Which day counts? That row was empty. Bergfeld had the bottom row twice, in 2 reports. The middle row twice, 2 rules nobody wrote down. And the top row? Nothing. Nobody had ever written the sentence. Top row, the sentence. Which day counts? The address, then the rule, then the sentence, bottom to top. That's how you read a model that already exists. And here's the test. From every column, walk back to a rule. From the rule, walk back to a sentence a human signed. If you can't, you don't have a model, you have a table. But that's the reading order. You build the other way round. Sentence, then rule, then column. Conceptual, logical, physical. A data model isn't drawn, it's decided. And every column built that way can be walked back up. Here's where it bites you. You will almost never model on a blank page. The tables already exist. In any company that's been running for a while, you dig out the decisions your systems made for you, before you get to make your own. Most teams I've seen only model the bottom row, the physical one. And the tools quietly let you. So who picked the DataHub's 2 dates? Nobody. The nightly export carried the day Bergfeld had promised and the day the goods left. And so a job that ran at 2:30 in the morning became the DataHub's definition of on time. That's what skipping the first 2 models looks like. A physical model with no sentence behind it. And that is the second store from last time, the one nobody could explain. There was never anything to explain, only something that got copied. You know the symptom. 2 reports, 1 number, and the meeting is no longer about what to do. It's about which report to trust. Even the people who build these reports argue about which column means which. How that export moved the data at all, that's its own question. It comes back later. Here's how it landed at Bergfeld. Florian stood in front of that empty top row for a while. And then he saw it. Which day counts, that wasn't a decision for the people who ran the systems. It wasn't the DataHub's. It was his. He'd been asking a database a question only he could answer. He owned the sentence that day. He parked the rule, which 2 of the 4 dates. Nothing was written down, no column was added. It was still the most useful hour that whiteboard ever had. Because which day counts, that comes from the business. A promise to a customer or house policy, not a setting in any system. Here's the one breath version, the one I wish I'd said before I picked up the marker. 2 reports, 2 on-time numbers, and a managing director who wants one. No data team. Every table already exists, so you're modeling backwards. And the tempting fix is a filter in a report. Decide the sentence first. On a board a baker can read. That sentence belongs to whoever runs the business, not to whoever runs the database. Write the rule once. Which 2 of the 4 dates? And right under it, name the date you didn't pick, so nobody rediscovers it next quarter. And only then point at the columns. Not a new column in the DataHub, not a filter in Power BI. Both are faster, yes, and exactly how they got 2 answers in the first place. A physical fix for a conceptual problem. Most of that map is still unlit. It gets drawn the way we did it today, 1 decision at a time. Subscribe and watch it fill in. 2 right answers is what 1 missing sentence looks like.